Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing? Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on where you're at. My name is LattMackey, and we are going to continue the TurboGrafx 16 hotness here, as we have already just seen Legendary Axe 2, awesome run. I just recently played through that. Could not beat that last level and last boss. So there we go. Congrats, dude. Great run, Snipper. I am joined today by the one, the only Mr. Evan Grill. Evan, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Hi, everybody.
Thanks for joining me. Evan's going to help out with the commentary, as you'll see that my gameplay can tend to suffer when I'm talking through some of this stuff. So I'm going to let Evan help me out. The first game we are going to play in this series of the next 3 games is Splatterhouse on the TurboGrafx 16. I'm actually going to be playing the PC Engine version, and I'm going to actually let Evan talk through a little bit some of the differences, because gameplay-wise, there's not really, but I'll let Evan talk through some of the graphical differences as we start here in this first level. So we're going to start the timer here. Here we go. In 3, 2, 1, go. Evan, tell us a little bit about this game.
So this is Splatterhouse. This is a port of the arcade game. The TurboGrafx 16 and PC Engine port are nearly identical to the arcade version. There's some really slight differences, but this is the game that when you were a kid, if you had this game, you definitely didn't let mom see that you were playing it.
It even came with a parental advisory on the box, actually. It's one of the first games, apparently, to do that.
Yeah, it's one of those games that was really heavily featured in the 1993 video game censorship hearings.
Thank you, everyone, for the GGs and the good lucks. I appreciate that. Go ahead, Evan. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, you can see he's at the first boss here now. And he's just going to punch and kick a bunch of worms.
So the whole idea for this, or I'm sorry, the whole strats for the speedrun are going to be sliding and jump kicking a lot, because you actually move through the levels a lot quicker when you use a combination of those both. So you'll see me sliding and jump kicking quite a bit, and that's oh no, I just screwed up the timer. Oh no. Sorry, I'm just so used to splitting, and I don't need to split. My sincere apologies. I'm so sorry about that.
Well, this will be a world record run. One of the things you might be wondering watching this is, how did this game get a license to Jason Voorhees? And this is not Jason Voorhees. This is Rick. Rick has been possessed by not a hockey mask, but an ancient Mayan mask that has given him this strength so that he can rescue his girlfriend.
And once again, this is absolutely not Friday the 13th. This has absolutely nothing to do with that franchise, that movie, that IP whatsoever.
Yeah, especially not when he gets, the machete and he's chasing people down. Not at all.
So you'll notice a lot of the levels they're somewhat auto-scrollers. You actually can stop the scrolling if you'd like, but for the most part, this game is on rails and is an auto-scroller. There are a couple sequels to this game, and Splatterhouse 2 is similar in that fashion as well on the Genesis. But this is actually, did we even mention this is an arcade port?
I did mention that.
Okay, good.
If you ever play the PC Engine port, in order to, or I should say, if you ever play the TurboGrafx 16 version, in order to avoid some confusion, the mask is red instead of white.
So if you've got your room emotes, this is perfect time to bust that out here.
Yeah, this is this boss actually is one of the more technically challenging. There's a whole pattern that he's got to get the fastest kills.
Take a little.
You'll see yeah. Normally you can line up the knives and hit 2 of them at once, and
oh no. There we go. We got it.
There you go.
And don't split this time. I need an emote to remind me not to split.
And you can see he's chasing this ghost. Every time he kills a boss, the ghost kind of runs out of the room.
Yeah, punching knives. It's totally normal, right? And yeah, okay, so apparently that chair in that room is a special kind of chair, because you'll face some chairs later on in the game, and they don't nearly take as many hits. I guess different chairs share different...
That one's made out of mahogany.
There we go. That's what it is. Okay.
So now Rick has decided that the melee weapons are not his style anymore, so he's picked up a shotgun. And he's going to single-hand the shotgun as he walks. Oh no, he does grab it with the other hand. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I was gonna. There are two different strats there, and gotta choose a little more of the consistent one. So here's the third level boss, and just like that, we're done with him. You'll notice I'll try to end the stage on the far right, because if you wouldn't, you actually do walk across, and that causes you some time. So as a speed run, you want to get through that as quick as possible. And I think this is a good time, actually, to mention that Zallard is the current world record holder in this game with a sub 13-minute run, which is, if you get a chance, take a look at his run. He's able to execute all the tricks and strats at a really high level. It's really fun to watch.
Yeah, and he's actually also recently taken up the arcade version, too.
Which is awesome.
He's been doing high scores.
And high score, yeah, that's true. High score runs, which are super fun as well.
So now he's harpooning some ghouls here.
Hey, there you go. Okay, cool. They even have the... Okay.
Oh, look at that. That's pretty handy.
Yeah. This game was I guess it was... Is there a Game Boy version of this game? No, I'm reading that wrong. My apologies. This is why I shouldn't read chat while playing.
Yeah.
This section... Go ahead, Evan.
I would say this section with the spinning knives is definitely the one of the harder parts for a casual playthrough. If you've never played this game, that definitely takes a while to get the jumping just right to get in between them.
Cartoon, I'm glad you brought up the soundtrack. The music and the sounds in this game are just awesome. And the TurboGrafx 16 had the capabilities to really... to showcase some really good sound effects and soundtracks. And this game, I mean, it really creates a really nice ambiance, even today, you know, not just back when it came out, but I think it does a really good job of creating the vibe and the horror movie feel. You can dance in the mirrors. Oh, didn't mean to do that. I have to wait for my comeback.
Enemy's teasing you. He says, this is the Game Boy version.
This is the Game Boy version.
Yeah.
So once again, you can see I can actually influence the scroll. So it's not quite a true auto scroller, but yeah, you can impact it if you need to.
And ideally in the speedrun, you don't stop it.
Right.
But the mirror Rick is sometimes a little difficult.
But there's always time to stop for a little bit of dancing.
Yes.
Never a problem with that. So this is a really long hallway, and once again, sliding through it to move through it as fast as possible. This is not just for like, what do you call it? Showing off or strutting. Oops. There we go. Got it.
If you were wondering, one of the reasons that this game, other than the violence, got such a bad rap, the floating upside down cross is probably a piece of that.
Oh, dang it. Hello. Well, we're getting a little bit close here. Enable and duck very well. Take it a little safer. And we got hit. Okay, well there you go. You're going to see the hallway again. Very exciting here. Dope.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you only get, so you have the life counter in the bottom there. You only get the 5 hits, and it's very difficult. You can't pick up extra life points during the individual stages. You typically get one at the end of a stage, just kind of as a reward for surviving. But it means that you basically, if you come into a stage with only a couple hits, it's a good chance that you're going to die and have to start the stage over. So occasionally you'll see Matt, you probably won't see it here, but occasionally in actual runs you'll see him take an intentional death right at the beginning of the stage, just to...
As they are auto-scrollers, they can cause quite a bit of time as you're going through this. So. Okay, so this is a really long cutscene, and if anybody's got any good jokes in the chat, this is a perfect time for it, or... No, but so this was a small difference. Evan might have mentioned this at the beginning, too. This was actually censored slightly different for the North American version. Apparently because of the crosses. I'm not 100% sure, but...
Yeah, he's not... I think they decided he's not in a church in the American version.
That's right. He is in a Gothic-style older building that may have the resemblance to, but not the actual. I think they took the crosses. I think that was the big difference. But
yeah,
it's kind of fun. We get to see the Japanese version here, but stage 5, it's written English, so the only slight differences. Even the text in the cutscenes is in English in this version.
Yeah, and as you can see there, they're hinting that we are probably going to find his girlfriend here in this stage. So here's our one-hit chairs, or I guess two-hit chairs. But
Correct, Nate. It's not a church. Oh, like I jumped right in. That was some bad luck.
The timing here is very precise. He's got to be able to jump over and not get hit by these hands that leap in the air. And occasionally he'll punch him, you'll see.
So just taking a little bit safe there so we can actually get through without getting hit. I want to try to preserve my health as much as I can during this stage, and it's actually for the next stage. I want to go into next stage with full health. And once again, you only get 2 of your little hearts replaced at the end of a stage, so I guess you want to be fully as powered health as you can for every stage, but next stage is super important for that reason. So,
fun fact: this stage is literally impossible. Antwol says.
This is true. Okay, still gotta focus here just a little bit here. Oh, we got lucky. Okay, good. We didn't get lucky. Actually, we got. Oh, hit him. See, so we took some damage. A little scary, but why not go for it, right?
Yeah.
Gotta hand it to him. Bad puns, but this is the perfect game for bad puns.
This game did not come out on the NES, or at least as far as I know it didn't. But they did get a parody version of this game, Splatterhouse Wanpaku Graffiti, in which you play as a very tiny Rick who is fighting his way through a series of horror movie tropes.
Highly recommend. It's actually a super fun game. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's a great game. It's probably more accessible than this game because the controls aren't nearly as you don't have to be quite as precise. So all right.
Yeah, cartoon. Those ghosts are one of the. I have lost so many different runs to those ghosts that drop those heads.
We have found Rick's girlfriend. Wait, what's going on with Rick's girlfriend?
It's not Rick's girlfriend.
Oh no, she's become a zombie.
Okay, we're gonna take this a little bit safe because I only have 1 health. So, interestingly enough, it might even be worth it to take a death here, but yeah, you know what? Screw it. Let's keep going.
We got this.
I'm gonna have some. I might take it.
Oh, he saved her, or not. All right, show of hands in chat. Who thinks she's better looking this way?
Help me. Ooh, how did I not die there?
She did get reversed. This is her inside out.
Didn't die. So those are the call those safety strats, but and then she disappears. So all that for Rick for nothing, man.
Yeah,
couldn't save her anyway. She says it's not all about Kevin. Oh, nice. Okay, so here is the toughest stage by a lot in the game, and we could see some deaths here. Just letting everyone know right away that this is a very tough stage. And the reason it's tough and challenging is because these little bubbles that are going to spawn, you'll see right here, they take the most random patterns known to man. And a lot of times, it's nearly impossible to predict where they're going to go. Oh, man.
Yeah, if he can get them while they're still bubbles,
you know, I'm going to take a death.
Great.
I'm going to take a death here because we don't want to replay the level. So it's super important to have as much health as I can. So we're just going to play it safe, take a death.
Yeah, if he can get them while they're bubbles, it's great. If they land and pop out of the bubbles, they'll leap at him, and it becomes very difficult to manage, especially when lots of them are on the screen at the same time.
If the witches in the last level aren't a run killer, these bubbles definitely are. Not every time, but so many times. So many runs lost to these bubbles. I'm trying to keep them in front of me. That's usually the best option. And I try not to slide too much because I can't come out of a slide as fast as I want to sometimes. These bubbles will hit me while I'm sliding and do damage and just make it altogether really challenging. Oh, geez.
Yeah, and if it weren't enough, unlike every other stage in this game where the boss of the stage is a completely separate area, the boss you just fight while these things keep spawning. You'll see that in just a second.
Without being too disgusting, the name of the stage is literally, I think, called Womb. So you can imagine that this is part of...
This is where all those enemies that he's been fighting the whole game have been coming from.
Wait for that guy to jump closer. Okay. Okay.
This is actually a decent pattern.
I can shake back and forth and actually not get hit there. Come on.
That would require forethought.
Oh, there we go. Okay, cool. Didn't die.
Yeah, that was a really easy pattern as far as they could go.
During practice last night, I lost 3 runs to this boss specifically because of the pattern there that you get on. Last level. Okay, we're fine. It's exciting. We're on the last level. We're on the last level.
All right. So this has some of the scariest mobs. The guys that are on fire, and you'll see he beats them in the easiest way possible.
Okay. So there, except for the boss in this stage, there are no enemies that I can hit. There are no enemies to destroy. All of these guys are invincible. And it's a different mechanic than the rest of the game, which is kind of fun. Challenging you in a different way. Oh, and there we go. I ran into it. More good music. Probably my favorite track in the whole game is the boss music here at the end.
All right.
There are two.
Now you just punch and kick and avoid the almonds.
Avoid the almonds, avoid the hands.
Rick has a tree nut allergy.
He has. And then just like in Mario 3, you want to avoid the hands. You want to have no hands whatsoever. I think one thing we mentioned too, this is actually a fairly faithful port of the arcade version.
Yeah, they basically just downsampled the sprites a little bit to fit onto the hardware requirements of the TurboGrafx.
Oh, dang it. Oh, I got a hit. Okay. Boom, boom.
And after a couple more hands, they'll get some punches in and it'll be over.
There we go. Got it. Okay. Cool. Well, minus the intentional death. That was not terrible at all.
Yeah.
Whatever the final time here, just add a minute. Imagine that.
I was going to say, I think you got a world record time there.
That's actually like my PB. My PB, I think, is like 14:33. So there we go.
You didn't even beat your own PB after cheating the timer.
After cheating the timer. Oh, dang it. Well, that's a TurboGrafx. This is Splatterhouse from the TurboGrafx 16. I'm going to let the titles play for just a bit because one thing this game does a really good job of is setting up the horror vibe as we were talking about before. And these ending titles are so like morose and melancholy. It just actually feels like you're watching a horror movie. In the arcade version, you actually get some of the backstory and the lore for the game. That's I guess they couldn't fit it on the cart for the TurboGrafx 16 version. So we're going to take a quick break. And we'll be right back with some Pac-Land. So don't go anywhere. Let's keep this TurboGrafx 16 thing going, and we'll be back in just one sec.